Welcome on in, ladies and gentlemen. 3 bold takes. Again, we have another New Year's 6 bowl, and this one is entitled the Crimea River Bowl. You could probably guess who's playing in this game, and that's Florida State and Georgia. Of course, everybody knows, even state and U.S. senators know Florida State left out of the playoffs, undefeated, ranked 5th. Georgia ranked 6th, 12-1. Georgia comes in as a 14.5-point favorite in this game. Man, if that doesn't tell you that Florida State should not be in the playoffs, I don't know what does. Chase, let's send it over to you first for the Crimea River Bowl, a.k.a. the Orange Bowl.
Yeah, personally, to me, Georgia is the top 4 team in the country. Georgia should be in the playoffs in my amateur analyzation, Florida State should not. Anyway, to move on. Florida State doesn't have their quarterback. A few of their defensive players who made that team so good has already opted out. And I believe a couple of their offensive guys have already opted out for the draft as well. So now Florida State, who's even at it low because they didn't make the playoffs and didn't have their guy to make the playoffs, they have even less guys now. Carson Beck is coming back from for Georgia, and I haven't heard a lot of declares for Georgia as well for the draft. I could be wrong on that, on the number of guys. But I think by far and away, this is going to be an absolute skull drag for Georgia. I think this is going to be a 42-17 type game, 42-20 type game. It's not going to be close at any point. You saw what their offense did against Louisville. That was their third-string quarterback. The second-string quarterback will be back. But when the second-string quarterback played against Florida, he made Florida's defense look pretty good. This is an actually really good defense for Georgia, so I don't think this is going to be close at all. I'm going to go Georgia by 20. Quinn?
I'm going to start with this. Let me address Georgia first. You are one of the 4 best rosters in football. Too bad you lost the SEC title game. Now you're in the Orange Bowl. That's how it goes. It sucks, but that's the truth. There's too many one-loss and no-loss Power 5 conference champions this year. You had to win in Atlanta. You did. What I'll say about the Georgia players, though, like Chase said, I haven't seen that many opt-outs of this bowl game for Georgia up to this point, which tells me they want to come in and prove that they are one of the 4 best teams in the country. Let's switch over to Florida State. I feel for Florida State. Like, they kind of deserve a spot playoff. You're undefeated. You didn't lose a single game. And, I get your quarterback's hurt, but, you're punishing a team full of dudes because one guy went down. That being said, with Jordan Travis, I still don't even think they're one of the 4 best teams in the country. With Jordan Travis, you had an opportunity as a team, and now this is where I'm a little upset at Florida State. You have an opportunity to come in here and prove to people they were wrong about you. And instead, you have a bunch of dudes opting out of the game. You can tell where the mindsets of these 2 teams are, and Georgia's already a better team roster-wise. You could have been a completely healthy, fully loaded Florida State team, and Georgia still has the edge. You're not completely healthy. You're not fully loaded. And your mind right now is too busy getting your state senators and representatives to boo-hoo to Congress for no reason, because it's not going to do anything, than putting your attention into this bowl game. Georgia will slaughter Florida State. This game will not be close. Originally, I was not hyping this up as a game that's going to be a slaughter. But as we're building up to the Orange Bowl, nothing about it tells me that Florida State's going to be competitive in this game. Georgia's going to cover 14.5. Frankly, for me to feel uncomfortable betting Georgia, this spread would need to be 24.5, not 14.5. Georgia's going to cakewalk their way to an Orange Bowl win.
Yeah, this game's not going to be close at all. And I do feel for the Florida State fans. I mean, if you want to throw the word deserve out there, then yeah, they deserve a spot in the playoffs, right? Oh, by the way, Florida State's looking to leave the ACC. Apparently, they're having some meeting. We're recording on the 21st of December. They're having a meeting tomorrow to discuss it. The SEC doesn't want you. That's just how it is. So it looks like it may be the Big 10 or the Big 12. But man, Florida State, and you know what's crazy is I had them picked at the beginning of the year to make the playoff, right? And part of me wanted that to come true. But I also knew that if they got into the playoffs, it would be just about like TCU because they're not very good without Jordan Travis. Now, that's not throwing shade at their defense. Their defense is still good. They kept them in the Louisville game even when their offense couldn't even get a first down. It's the reason why they won that game. But against Georgia, man, this is I would not be surprised if it was, another 65-7 type deal for this game. Now, I'm not going to go that egregious, but maybe 55-7 if that changes anything in people's mind. It's not going to be close. They're going to get skull drugged. But Florida State, if you win, you can claim a national championship. So, that could be something. But, Quinn, just like you said, nobody wants to play for their team, which is sad.